Yeah, it's Dieter and Jake. We're just trying to figure it out, folks. Jake's back from Hawaii, where he was living correct, living the good life. And we're here to talk about 49ers and Raiders and where we go from here with the San Francisco 49ers. Jake, first off, buddy, how are you? How are you doing? Everything okay with you?
Great. Got a tan. A little bit burned, but we're great.
You take it. Okay. Let's stop dicking around, Jake. We got to get your takes on the game. Jake's takes. It's time for Jake's takes. He had no idea that was a thing. He shouldn't have given me an extra 15 minutes to prepare for the show. Jake, your takes on 49ers Raiders, a game that made us all wonder what we were doing with our lives.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, man, by the fourth quarter, I couldn't take it anymore. That was my first takeaway. Is I can't put myself through this. Yeah, my take is normally with preseason stuff, you can kind of shrug a lot of it off and say, all right, well, it's okay because the starters are going to be back and most of these guys aren't going to play anyway. With the 49ers, they're counting on rookies to save them. So these guys all kind of need to be it, or at least some of them. And I'm not sure they are, at least yet. So my take is this team is I don't expect them to get off to a ripping start. I mean, the offense with Brock Purdy looks exponentially better, but
then the alternative being Mac Jones. Yeah, I dare say that's better.
I'll say Marquise Siegel looks like the truth. We were sort of dubious, and will he actually be what the coaches say he's going to be? He looks fantastic.
It's evident on just game broadcast. It is really impressive on the All-22. We're not trying to get demonetized here, so we're not going to dick around with that. That's for like the weekly demonetization stream that we'll do. And there were a couple of plays. I mean, even his worst rep, you could make the argument was really, really good. Like you can see his air is like an air of commission as opposed to omission. Whereas when you're typically watching a rookie, it's because they just can't see it, right? They don't know where to be, how to be there. It's all too fast for him. His air was that he was too mentally fast in a way. And he sort of second guessed himself on just a nice zone beater by the Raiders. Like it's not always going to be there. As opposed to like a Nick Martin, who the game is both mentally fast and he is extremely physically fast. So you get this massive boom or bust potential. When it hits, it's, oh my God. And when it doesn't hit, it's, oh my God. What'd you make of Martin in game 2?
Yeah. So the comparison I made to Dieter was that the way people are talking about him reminds me of how some people are talking about quarterback prospects, where you have like very smart minds who go, all right, like I trust this person, they're great at evaluating the game with nuance. And then they go, quarterback has big arm. Like, and then that's like all that matters. And you're like, okay. And that's like the entire analysis. And it's like, okay, well, we all saw that. And yeah, the upside's bigger for a quarterback with a big arm.
Yeah.
But with Nick Martin, yes, he's very fast, right? We get it. He's very fast. He runs around. That's all I see, though. That's not all I see. He's running around like if you play Madden or play any game, like you're holding down the right trigger, where you're just sprinting. I don't think he sees it right now.
Not shocking. And honestly, not something that you can put down as like a demerit full term. Like it's not surprising he doesn't see it. It's the NFL. It's fast. The problem that the 49ers have is he doesn't see it now. He doesn't see. I doubt that the Chargers game is when it all clicks in. I doubt that he sees it anytime soon. There might be a point where it clicks in. All more power to him. Like we all hope for his sake that there's that point. But in the meantime, you cannot play him because guess what gets a hell of a lot faster starting September 7th? The stuff that's already too fast for him.
That's where I'm at. And when I evaluated Martin, and again, we were sort of late on him, so we took some specific time after the draft to really watch him.
Boy, did we.
When it was clean, ahead of him. When it was obvious and it was clean and it was like, okay, run down this hole, attack. He was great, right? And it or something to the sidelines and you just say, get after it. Like when
Yeah.
it's clean and there's just a straight line, it's usually great. Now there was like were a couple plays where even when it was clean, he still overran it.
Yeah.
I understand people thinking it's too harsh because you're like, well, look at how fast he is. Look at him. Look at him running around. Look at the upside. Yeah, the upside's no shit. Obvious. Yeah, he's really fucking fast. Oh, great analysis. I'm sorry. It's obvious that he's fast and he's strong. And if it clicks, it's going to be great.
Is he
but
strong?
Right now,
there's no I mean, he's strong relative to his
his
size, but is that NFL strength?
I'm not. I don't. He seems strong, but like his tackling form is really inconsistent. Like he's missing. There's a lot of like lazy arm tackles.
It's a little D Wintersy, if you might
Yeah.
recall from back in the day. And by the way, I went in on D a little bit, saying that maybe we're anointing him too fast because
Agreed.
there's no competition. I thought he actually had a really nice game. If that's what we see week in, week out, that's a solid enough player to be a weak side linebacker. You can work with that. He can get better from there. I haven't seen the sort of disaster class that we would see when Winters was out there in the limited time he was out there. A thought that I saw in the comment section, I hope I wrote this down correctly. Matthew Harding mentioned in the comment section that when Martin was in college, and this is a very astute point of observation, so I hope that I got you right, Matthew Harding. Oklahoma State, I mean, first off, Big 12 spread out, offensive linemen never to be seen. Sorry, that's a great comment. Hayden Martin is like expecting a puppy to be a fully disciplined service dog. That's really good. But they played a 3-3-5, right? Most teams in the Big 12, a lot of teams that play consistent college, they play a 30 stack. I don't know why they call it a 30 stack. It's a 3-3-5. That's wide open spaces. Everybody gets a gap, and the gaps go from sideline to sideline. Like the D gap outside the numbers. Like it's Big 12 football, baby. Anything goes. Wide open spaces on the plains, and also Arizona, and also Central Florida, and I think, yeah, West Virginia's in there too. It's kind of a messed up conference. Then again, I'm excited for ACC football in Berkeley this year. So college, you're doing great.
Right.
The 3-3-5 is huge, right? And you could almost make an argument that Nick Martin would have been better served in a 3-man front. And instead, what I saw in this game was that they were starting to use him as the overman and create a 5-man front, just so that everything was still in front. He had less things to process, right? Like maybe if you're right on the line of scrimmage, there's just less for you to have to deal with, less visual clutter, and we'll just go from there. The 3-3-5 thing, again, Matthew Harding, great point. Like, it's much like with Alfred Collins. You're asking him to do something that he fundamentally was never asked to do at the college level. It's a bit more nuanced than with Collins, where he was a gap holder and a run stuffer,
right,
and just hold the line. And now you're asking him to be a gap shooter and somebody who, disengages from blocks, which, by the way, yet to see him do once. Different doing that than it is saying, hey, you get nothing but space to run, see ball, attack ball. We're going to spread this thing out defensively as to give you plenty of clear lanes, as opposed to the NFL, where, and especially in preseason, where everyone's just running base. Like, that's a lot of convoluted stuff with guys who are markedly faster in a game that is markedly more physical.
Yeah, and it's something where it's like, again, somebody was, saying that, I was like, yeah, this isn't a proclamation for his entire career. It can work out. And he's like, oh, you're just saying that because you want to criticize him and giving yourself an outlet. It's like, no, I believe that.
No,
like, if he plays
now,
if he plays well, we will point it out.
Absolutely.
But he looks markedly off the pace.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if he was your will right now, teams would go at him. It would be malfeasance as an offensive coordinator to not attack him.
Right.
He's overrunning things. He looks completely lost at times. And there's times it shows up. Again, there are flashes, no question. Yep. But more often than not, it's not right. Like, he's just not playing at an NFL caliber level yet, mentally, in terms of like feeling it, just having a sense of the pace and where the play's going. He's trying to do the all gas, no brake thing. And there's certainly no brakes on it. There's no brakes. That's for sure.
He can develop them. It can get there.
Of course.
you mentioned attacking on defense. That's what the Raiders and Chip Kelly did to poor Jair Brown. By the way, that's what Kyle Shanahan has been doing to Jair Brown in practice. I don't know what Jair Brown, I've always found to be an incredibly affable gentleman, sharp dude. I like talking to Jair Brown. The way that they attack him in practice makes me think that there's something like it almost feels personal the way that they're going. And Chip Kelly got the memo. It took one practice, I suppose, between the two teams. And he's like, oh, 2-7 after him. Not only does Brock Bowers dunk on him, then when Ashton Genty's trying to get into the end zone, what do? They say, where's 27 lining up? Marquise Siegel's on the other side. He's a rookie. They could run right at him. Well, Ashton Genty's like, I don't want to run into him again. He hit the shit out of me. 27, though, let's go that way. And it did. They're going to keep him, Jake. I don't know if you can justify putting him on the field the regular season game, though.
Yeah, it's tough with Jair because you've like always wanted to see it, and it's just like he's a tick off, with everything. There's just a half step every single play. He's like trailing, he's chasing somebody down, and it's like I don't think he's fast enough to compensate for maybe overthinking a little bit, right? Like I think that could be his issue, but it's just not there. And it's year 3 and you kind of need it to be there. And maybe it'll come up and it'll show in the game, when it matters if they end up starting him, but he's not showing a lot of reason to think that that's actually going to click.
Well, who did you like in this game? Who stood out to you in a positive way?
Bethune again was good. I mean, all the quarterbacks were decent. It was nice to see Jeff Wilson Jr. out there, right? Like Jeff Wilson Jr. looked like, hey, all right, well, worst case scenario, we have Jeff Wilson Jr. as our third or fourth running back because he knows the system and he's physical, and he ran somebody over in the end zone.
Yeah, he did. You like I wanted to check out in the fourth quarter, and I did during the game itself. Busted out the game film yesterday, and I just wanted to see how Drew Moss did, and Drew Moss was fine. He was fine. Zakelj at center was another disaster class. The Zakelj thing has got to go. I can't do it anymore. They keep waiting for the day where it all clicks for him. I know that he had some decent reps late last season, but he can't play center, and he's not very good at guard. Meanwhile, I got to pull it back a little bit on my concerns for number 66. I think the Nuge is a viable guard. I think you can play him there. What did Chris Forster tell you? Like,
Chris Forster was essentially like you would think he'd suck there because of his size and that he's really in the mold of a center, but he just sort of survives. Yeah. There was one pretty bad rep from him.
Totally.
But otherwise, I didn't really notice him doing too much wrong.
I liked it. I kind of liked it. I thought he was better than Moss in the game. And when you consider where the Niners are at with their guard position, with the Barch elbow injury, the extent of which is very unknown, and then Pooney's PCL, which I think you operate on the premise that he won't be there for week 1 and be happily surprised if he is, you're starting Connor Colby. There's no two ways about that. You're starting Connor Colby because I don't think you can start Zakelj. And then do you use this preseason game, this final preseason game, to see if anybody can take Zakelj off that spot? Because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, what I'm doing in this last game is I'm rotating. I'm letting Nuge and Zakelj and Moss and Colby play as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Honestly, with Colby at this point, you're going to keep him.
Of course, yeah.
But I would like to bounce the guys around a little bit and see. I don't know. Where do you think Zakelj is best? Like, let's say it's left guard. Like, is he the best left guard behind Barch? I don't know. I think you got to play him like 2/3 of the game and see if he's worth keeping.
Let's put it this way. I think you can make a good argument that Zakelj is the best option at guard right now, but there's no upside there. Legitimately, like at this point, the upside is only that he is theoretically versatile, but he's a jack of all trades, and I'm not even sure he qualifies as a jack. He's certainly a master of none. And wouldn't it be better for the 49ers in 2025 to run the kid out there, go ahead and work through some stuff,
Right.
and find out on the other end? I honestly think that that's the case, where you roll the dice with it. But given that Pooney's injury doesn't seem to be a long-term thing, we'll have better news on that tomorrow. They probably won't do that. They'll probably just take the floor. And I just don't see very much difference between the kids and the guy who's been around for a while.
Yeah, I'm with you. Either way, it's not sexy, right? Like you're not feeling great about any of your options in the short term. The Niners have really never felt outstanding. You want to address this?
No, let's talk to Paul, because Paul keeps saying that we don't see it with Martin. Paul doesn't know what he's talking about.
so Paul, like did you? So the point I mentioned. Listen, I'm not trying to talk down anyone. The point I mentioned is like when it's clear, which again, the blitz was a lane ahead of him. He did a good job swiping down the offensive lineman's arms, and he got to the quarterback. Again,
it's a great play.
When it's a clear lane and he's running in a straight line, like, yes, there's value there. But like you can't play. That's not
the NFL.
Yeah, that's not really something that you can count on. If you can't trust him in coverage, if you can't trust him to do anything else, then you're just telling other teams, and maybe it works for a few weeks, but like then you're just telling other teams that, okay, we're putting this guy on the field to blitz because we don't trust him in coverage, we don't trust him to fit the run. Like, and that's a tell that's not viable.
Yeah, you want your defense to be predictable, right? Like you really want everyone to know what's coming,
and
especially
again,
when you're blitzing.
Right. And again, like he's a guy where it could click and it could hit huge, and he could be an outstanding linebacker, and us being dubious about him will be like, oh, well, he figured it out. But like now, if you're trying to act like he really is a well-rounded player that's deserving of starting, even being your third linebacker, he's a liability. He is objectively a liability. He's overrunning plays consistently. He looks off the pace. And it's going to take him time to figure it out, or he won't figure it out. And that's on him. So if it clicks, it's going to be great.
As it stands today, their second-round pick and their third-round pick, two guys who were drafted. If you're a top 100 pick, and Martin was pick 75, if you're a top 100 pick, you need to be a contributor on day one. That means that you have a package that you can come in on and be effective consistently. That means that you are somebody, in the case of Martin, an ace special teamer. In the case of Alfred Collins, it means that you have a serious rotation. And so neither of those things are happening. Now with Collins, Collins is a technique issue and an issue of him getting his feet under him more than anything else. That also might not work out. He might never get his feet out from under. He might never catch up physically. Right? He might never get it. Once the feet go, big man, it all goes. And the technique thing, he might never learn. I mean, they spent 4 years on Javon Kinlaw. It's not as if they didn't know the issues. They couldn't get him to do it consistently. So that's the situation with Collins, which is a pretty bad situation as it stands for a team that needs Alfred Collins. And the Martin situation isn't as dire, but because you watched the YouTube highlights and you saw that sack, you missed 7 other plays where he was not just errantly out of the play or errantly misguided or way behind, but fundamentally the reason why the other team moved the ball against you.
And I'm not,
if he was pick 175, we could be talking positive, nothing but positives, because there's no risk to pick 175. They're supposed to fail. But at pick 75, you took somehow a bigger boomer bust player, and the credit to Martin that the boom seems to be there, but you took a bigger boomer bust player than you did with Collins. And when Collins got taken, we're like, whoa, that's a risky play. And it's proven to be that way. The idea that Nick Martin is somehow a player, I mean, he's not worthy of the conversation that we're giving him right now, save for the fact that he was pick number 75. That's it. And we have to be critical of it in the same way that we were critical in a positive way on taking Pearsall last year. And the idea that we just want to get it right, I think, is fundamentally. Of course, everyone wants to get it right. But let's talk about a guy like Tatum Bethune. Tatum Bethune, 7th-round pick, so he didn't get a lot of conversational run on this channel. But he sucked last year. He was cuttable last year. There was no reason to keep him around. And credit to the coaching staff and credit to Tatum Bethune, he's found a way to make himself a passable NFL player. He's good on special teams. I think that he's a really sure tackler. He's clearly very smart, which we saw, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Jake and I are smart. We're not playing in the NFL tomorrow. And the idea that he, with a year, got to a point where he can be a viable backup and beat out some guys who have some tenure under their belt, that's a real positive. The problem is that's the same path that Martin is on. In a year from now, we could be talking about Nick Martin in a very positive way because he has a lot of physical skill sets. He also has some serious physical detriments that I question if he can make it through the NFL level. But you need him now. You picked him at 75 now. And just because Marquise Siegel is hitting and just because Jordan Watkins looked like a hit doesn't mean that 75 can just be a waste pick for 2026 and beyond. You needed him now because the entire offseason for this football team, as John Lynch said, was the draft. And that means that you need the future value for sure. It's the draft, but the present day value as well. And they're not getting it with Martin, despite what the YouTube highlights might say.
Yeah. And again, it's like, it's something where I don't wish ill upon anyone or want anyone to fail. It's just not there yet. And there's quite literally plays where it looks like the Benny Hill theme is playing. And I'm not even doing that as a bit. Like, just watch every play. We're like really watching, trying to give him some deference, say, like, there's something there. And there is.
At the end of the preseason, we're going to cut it all up and we'll do a demonetization Wednesday and we'll just play it all. And we'll just show you what we're talking about, the good and the bad, because he is both currently the best player in the NFL and the worst player in the NFL. He's in the Kaminga zone right now, and that's not a good place to be unless you're really trying to hold up.
I'll give him credit. He doesn't hesitate. But the all gas, no brakes thing can go a little far.
Don't buy a Lamborghini without brakes.
Right. Did anyone else? I will mention, I thought, I think Bryce Huff actually had a decent little run play, and I think he had either a sack or a pressure.
Yeah, good game.
But yeah, the rest of the defensive line, I will say, Evan Anderson impressed me. I didn't
notice him good or bad, to be honest. I thought.
I was looking at everyone, and he wasn't doing anything crazy, but the rest of the guys were underwhelming me.
Robbie Chosen. Let's talk about it for just a second. Mac Jones loves Robbie Chosen. This is wildly evident in practices, and it showed up in Saturday's game against the Raiders. I don't see Robbie Chosen making this team because he was playing when Mac Jones was on the field. So I understand that Russell Gage and Isaiah Hodgkins were both also playing when Mac Jones was on the field, but they were on the field when Brock Purdy was on the field. That's more telling to me when you consider that I suppose Jacob Cowing is on this team. Evidence to be found. You got Pearsall. Pearsall looks incredible. Watkins, probably question mark for week one, but I would say that.
That's the thing about this team. It's like we're talking about players that shouldn't matter because they do matter, because the players who were supposed to matter are just not healthy and nowhere to be found. And I get it. You have to protect an abundance of these guys, but
Nate says he doesn't see a wide receiver as a problem for the 49ers. I don't think that that's totally off base, because I do think that Gage provides something for you. The Niners, as I said on Saturday after the game, they're looking for someone to fill the Chris Conley role, like good special teamer, veteran in the locker room, in the meeting room more specifically, like a pro's pro, and you can throw him out there and he can run at the X and you feel okay. I see no reason why Russell Gage can't be that guy. He looks good.
I think wide receiver is a problem for this team.
Then we get into the fact that now he's your number two. And that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah. So it's Ricky Pearsall is your number one, who, again,
No
we're
problem there.
clear. We've been fans of him, and he looks great. Can he stay healthy? That's the biggest question mark. What's Jawan Jennings situation gonna be? I imagine he just has to play. But like,
I wouldn't. That is a logical take. I think that is the most likely outcome. If we were handicapping it, I would say that there is a much higher percentage chance of him not playing in week 1 than is being perceived externally right now.
I think that's fair. But I'm saying in the best case scenario, you
Oh,
have
yeah. Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Demarcus Robinson. If Robinson doesn't get suspended,
That's a whole we can't even get into that. We
so
don't
there's
even
a
know.
scenario where it's just Ricky Pearsall and Robbie Chosen and Russell Gage and Jacob Cowing.
That's 4. And then how about this? Do you keep 6 so that you can have Junior Bergen?
I guess.
Or
I
do you
mean,
just play
he had
5?
the one return in the first game, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he shows anything as a receiver, and he didn't look great on kick returns. We'll see. But like,
Yeah. The here's the thing. He's really just a punt returner. And
right.
that kind of got glossed over. Garendo's supposed to be the kick returner with Bergen as
Correct.
sort of the second option. So I think Bergen will be back there with Garendo. This Dallas Flowers, I like Dallas Flowers. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to make the team. But Dallas Flowers ain't a kick returner, my man. It's a tough
Yeah.
team.
So Nate, I think the thing is like you can see it in the preseason, a couple good plays, but these guys, these like veterans that like kind of every team has one that's like on the back end of the roster, and you're like, this guy's playing well. They tend to like at best be a wide receiver 4 for you. And like that's useful. That's a useful player, but to say it like raises the floor of the receiver room or makes you feel a lot better about it. It makes you feel slightly more comfortable that you have those guys, and you certainly need them.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I just
Okay.
don't think it's a high end receiver room this year, and that can move the ball. The offense is good enough, and if guys are just on their P's and Q's and running routes as intended, that can work. Demarcus Robinson's a solid player,
Yes.
but it's not a high end group right now. And unless Ayuk returns and looks outstanding, which even though he's running routes, which might get the 49ers fined, it looks dicey. But again, yeah, they're going to rely on Kittle to me as their top target, along with Pearsall and CMC. So I think
No
if they
problem.
can survive the first few weeks, depending on Jennings' situation and Robinson,
Yeah.
it should be okay. But like, let's not pretend like it's an elite wide receiver room this year.
Well, and we'll get into that a little bit from now. 2 thoughts on that. I mean, yes, it's going to be Kittle. It's going to be CMC. It's going to be Pearsall, right? Those are your top 3 in the hierarchy, with maybe Robinson if he's in the fray for week 1. Gage and Hodgkins don't worry me if they're on the field in that situation because of what I saw in this game and what I've seen in practices, which is that they're very good blockers. This is where the Robbie Chosen argument falls apart. He doesn't block. He can't
Robinson,
block.
Robinson really
blocks great. Yeah, this
yeah.
is a fundamental aspect. Ricky Pearsall does not block, but Ricky Pearsall is the flipping truth against man coverage. So sacrifices are made. Because same thing with like Ayuk's a good blocker, but when Kyle didn't trust him as a blocker, what did he do? They just put him at X and they had him run clear out routes for Debo. And that's fine because then you have a use. I guess you could do that with Robbie Chosen, but Robbie Chosen ain't bringing a safety over. He ain't. So it looks
not this form of him. Yeah.
No, and I'm not sure ever if that was the conversation. So if you're going to build the offense, you have to think about, okay, we don't want to be targeting Russell Gage 7-8 times a game. We don't want to be targeting Isaiah Hodgkins 4 or 5 times a game. But if they're on Hodgins, sorry. One. If they're on the field, what is it that they can do to positively affect moving the football down the field? And both of those guys looked really good as blockers, and that matters. And I watched every snap on the basis of how well do these guys block. It wasn't perfect for either of them, but I would say that's the hierarchy, even though Chosen has these nice flash plays with the second string quarterback against, strict cover 1 with the Raiders, because the Raiders are just like, what if we did the Seattle Seahawks again? And this time we put Jamal Adams at linebacker instead. But I think that it's Gage and Hodgkins. And then the second aspect of this is if you like the receiver room, that's fine. I think you can consider it a professional receiver room. But the ideal circumstance for the 49ers when John Lynch was building this team, okay? Now, the Ayuk injury had already happened, so let's suspend some disbelief for a second. But the ideal world is that you have 4 wide receivers in Ayuk, Robinson, Jennings, and Pearsall. That's your 4, and then you have a Bergen as a 5 or a Gage as a 5, and maybe you bring a 6th. That's a really good receiver room. I'm not saying it's tops or anything, but it's really good.
Yeah.
4 of those guys are fantasy football relevant. Like, I know that fantasy football is not what we do here, but when
I do have a fantasy football question I'd like to ask the audience.
Let's save it for the end. I did not create a cutaway video for that, though. That's 4 players that I think you could draft in fantasy football. Ayuk's not a high-end guy. He's not like a Jamar Chase or anything for sure, but he's a viable 6th, 7th rounder. Pearsall can be something to that effect. And then Robinson and Jennings, like, you can stream those guys. When you're talking about Wood Gravy on fire as always. When Junior gets 5 of those 8 yards needed on a 3rd down tunnel screen, you better give him his flowers, his Dallas flowers.
I knew you were going to say it because I was thinking it.
Dad jokes. This team, as it currently stands, has 1 fantasy football relevant wide receiver that I expect to be playing and healthy and whatever in week 1.
Right.
So that's where we're at. And I think that maybe I have come off the theory, it was just a theory, that as the wide receiver room stood, it might have been the worst in the NFL. I think they're a little bit better than that as it's currently constructed.
I think they're definitely better than that. I think
they're
just
bottom 3rd.
I think they're just mid.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, at their best or right now?
I think just overall,
okay.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Two players I want to mention before we move on, and then I solicit fantasy football advice from the audience.
This is why we really built the channel.
I thought Burford was better, and he looked.
Paul. Sorry.
Burford was better. He looked fine. Also, Jake Tonjes at fullback. You shouted him out.
I think I mentioned it on the stream. I definitely mentioned it in text to you. Like, I there's something there. I'm not saying he's Kyle Juszczyk or anything, but like, you don't have to abandon 21 personnel if Juszczyk's out.
Him and Robinson lead blocking was fun. I liked it. So, like those guys.
Talk to me about Burford.
Burford, Burford, I think in the first game got kind of a harsh rap. He did get beat, but one of them was like a snap count timing thing. One was like a miscommunication. Shanahan explained it better than I would. I think he's going to be okay. Like, as far as being was anyone excited about Jalen Moore? Like, I right. I think Burford is more athletic, and I love him on the move. I think if you lose Trent Williams, you're naturally screwed anyway. Yeah. But I think Burford's fine as your backup left tackle, especially given he hasn't really played the position in 3 years. So would I, but
I thought you didn't like Darius Alexander. That's the Toledo guy, right?
I did like Darius Alexander. He was an interesting prospect. He's a little, small school. You have to sort of grade on a curve, but I understood the Collins fit for this team in terms of plugging and getting away from gap shooting. But then they go, well, we want Collins to shoot gaps. And it's like, well, wouldn't you take a guy who's already good at that?
Yeah, I mean, you think about Tonka Hemingway, who the Raiders took late on day 3. He looks like a pretty good gap shooter who can hold his own. Like, someone asked me on Saturday if anyone impressed me. Second watch, Tonka Hemingway. I was high on Tonka, but I thought he was really good. And you can ask some of the 49ers guards how they feel about that. By the way, I don't want to swing it all the way back, but if we're talking offensive line, I want to throw 2 things your way. One, Larry's been wrong about a lot of stuff this preseason, but I think he nailed it on Pleasance. I gotta one more time go mea culpa. Same thing with Cowing. When you look fast and there's no pads, it's easy to get seduced by the possibility. And if he can't run block, if Pleasance can't
he looked in pain. That was my note, is that he looks like he's in pain when he's in the run game.
He's the Holland Pierce.
Yes, that's my exact thought. Is he looks like he's hurting. He looks like he's hurting.
Every rep is a new personal record on the curls.
Yeah.
Just, we're gonna clip that from my thumbnailing later down the line. Austin Pleasance had a terrible run blocking game, and you don't expect good pass blocking. It was fine, but it wasn't good, and it was dangerous. All things considered, if he can't do that, that's a real problem. The problem is that Prince is even worse. Like, they don't have a fourth tackle, so this concept that they've been trying to run out there of, oh, we're going to have two backup tackles, one for each side. That's over. That's got to be over. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to put Pleasance on the 53 with the way that he's playing. I think you can practice squat him with ease, and yeah, that's the end of that. And I got to eat crow. I was wrong about that one. I got seduced. And the same thing with Cowing. Any update on him? I'll let you know when I see him out there. He's in uniform and practicing in theory, but once you're able to hit him, suddenly he doesn't look as awesome. So I'm fascinated to see if this is the week where he can ramp into it. You got to give a little bit of on ramp for everybody coming back after some time off. He's used it up now, and they didn't play him in this game because he hadn't shown anything in practice that says, "Hey, I'm ready to rumble," even with fourth quarter reps. They're certainly not protecting him because they know what they have. So I would, I think this is right by Nate. Like, he needs to play a lot.
I was going to say, I feel like I was wondering if Shanahan said what the plan was for the Chargers game, but they need like a proper tune-up. Like, that wasn't against the Raiders. That wasn't it. I think
the defense is okay. I wouldn't bother tuning anybody up on the defense. I'd second string, third string. I guess it's fourth string in most cases. Defense it. But I would have the offense play the first quarter, like 3 drives or something. I got no problem.
Although you already lost Pooney, so
yeah. Either whether it's Mac Jones, Purdy, or I don't know which nepotism baby is going to take over the job next. Maybe Shanahan's kids, like the 14-year-old, can go out there.
I did like Carter Bradley. He
can zip it, baby. Find Tanner Mordecai, see what he's up to, and have him out there. I think you just need to see a lot of reps from Cowing because the guy's got 4 NFL catches. He had a couple of moments second half of preseason last year. That's fine if he's the last guy on your depth chart. He's not right now.
Fun fact. Do you remember how many NFL career catches Danny Gray had for the 49ers?
1.
Yes, exactly 1.
Yeah.
And I remember in training camp us going, do you think he will have more or less than 10 catches? And we were way too optimistic. That's a different player.
Jalen Allen, Travis Gibson. I'll agree with you on Gibson. Jake is gone. Lumix webcam software. This has been a stream from hell. It's whenever Jake wants to join us again. Travis Gibson. I'm jumpy. Jake doesn't exist. StreamYard, you're killing it, baby. We're so happy we're back. Gibson's something in the sense of they don't have, as it stands today, and we'll find out in the next couple of weeks, but time is of the essence here. They don't have anyone who can go out there and effectively win on the outside besides Bosa, and Bosa, I'm just presuming, is healthy enough to play a real game because neck soreness doesn't seem too serious, all things considered. Are you just on your webcam now? What's going on?
We're doing. This is what we're doing, folks.
Yeah.
Hold
on. Let's reset this. Jake's takes. Okay. This time from the bottom, which is where the Niners might be in the NFC West when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Dieter's lagging. I'm using my webcam. Let me get my fantasy football take off.
Yeah, we're not even going to bother. We'll talk about the Mike Clay shit later this week. Just
listen. I got back on a red eye this morning. I don't know where I am.
This is true to the theory of the podcast. We were getting a little too fancy. All things considered.
Yeah, a little too. I got a camera set up.
We're back to brass tacks now, baby. This is what it's all about. Half-assing it. Okay, hit me.
So my question is, I am in a fantasy football league with 20 teams,
Yes.
20 teams. You get 2 keepers. You get 2 guys you can bring over from the taxi squad. I somehow didn't
Sorry, you have to explain the taxi squad.
the taxi squad, if you have a guy in their first 3 years, you can bring him over as long as you didn't use him. I somehow managed to win the lower league without using Brian Thomas Jr. So I got Brian Thomas Jr., and I got Tyrone Tracy.
You also use the term lower league.
There's 2 tiers. I was in the bum league. This is the most deranged league of all time.
Yes.
The point is I have 3 players that are worth keeping. I have Jaden Daniels, I have Brock Bowers, and I have Jahmyr Gibbs. I have to get rid of one. Which one do I get rid of? It's a 20-team league, so I think I got to keep Daniels. Okay. Quarterbacks are at a real premium.
20
Would you
teams
keep
with super flex or no?
He's the super flex.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
the super flex.
Okay.
So there's it's not even a QB slot. It's just a super flex.
Got it.
And then there's a tight end slot and a couple flexes. Would you guys trade Jahmyr Gibbs or Brock Bowers? Take some time, really think about it.
Anyway, KMBR. Jake has
awesome.
texted me about this roughly 12 times now, just roughly. And my stance is trade Gibbs for a haul because I'm a running back 0 guy, and keep Bowers because of positional scarcity. And
I don't trust anyone at tight end.
You should trust Brock Bowers.
No. Besides him, I only trust him
and like Kittle.
And I actually like Kittle this year. I think Kittle.
Like Laporta? I mean,
I don't trust Laporta. I mean, he's probably undervalued this year. I love our guy on the Cardinals.
Trey McBride.
Yeah, it's a keeper dynasty, and it's like Gibbs would probably get more than Brock Bowers.
You all let Jake know if he should keep Bowers or Gibbs, and get really wild with that. Meanwhile, this is still something that's coming up here. Nate has been a great commenter today. Shout out to Nate. Subscribe and become an official sicko, all that. This is in regards to Martin, I believe. Apologies if I got that wrong, Nate. Let me know. But he's not starting on base downs because he's not big enough to set an edge on a 4-3 over. Luke Gifford is your starting Sam linebacker because he's the only one with the viable size. If they really wanted to start somebody that wasn't Luke Gifford as the Sam linebacker, they would do Bethune. But Bethune also has the size limitations. So there we go. Goat Lord is correct. He drafted Ricky in fantasy. That is a great pick.
It's half PPR, folks.
Half PPR. You'll never be in as good of a league as mine, where I do first downs only. It's a first downs league. It's all about moving the chains, baby.
I like that.
Bethune can set an edge. I would love to see some evidence of that. I mean, he'll try, but I'd love to see some evidence of that. Yet to see it. They play him in the middle for a reason. Yeah, and he's good at that, right? People can change. Things can get better.
People could change.
People can change.
I used to be a piece of shit.
That might be the Nick Martin story a year from now or 6 months from now. And it feels like in a lot of ways, the 49ers operation is kind of banking on the I think you could leave theory of people can change.
That's right. That's right.
About halfway through the season, this defense is just going to find it. It's just going to click. I am, get this, not bullish on the concept. I like a lot of pieces on the defense. I do think that younger players need some runway to figure out the speed and the time. But for some of these guys, I mean, like a guy like Collins, I can maybe buy into because the physical traits are so excellent that I have to believe that he can do it. Like that he can adapt and learn to throw somebody away from him, because it's not as if he's not strong enough to do it. He just doesn't do it.
Right.
And maybe Martin is so fast that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, right? Maybe.
But as it stands now, he is running so fast all the time on the predication of if someone gets arms on him, it's over. So he has to be there first. Otherwise, he has no chance of making a play. That's a really good way to end up standing in the backfield when the play's 5 yards down the field. So Mashed eggs. Please tell me Jordan Elliott's not making the team. As it stands now, he's making the team. But my stance has been pretty standard, which is that their two best defensive tackles last year are fighting for a job. It's not to say they won't make the team because there's not enough defensive tackles to knock them out. Like, I don't think Sebastian Valdez has done enough. While he's been fine, I don't think he's done enough to be like, oh, we're getting rid of an incumbent.
Right.
But
this whole thing relies on CJ West.
Kinda. They built the plane out of Marquis Siegel and CJ West.
Oh man,
good players.
We'll see.
Really good players. Really good draft picks. And let's just to make sure that everyone needs to, because apparently we have to state our prior preferences as to then let everyone know why it is we say the things that we say, not because there's film or anything like that, but because we're just hopelessly anchored and it's impossible for us to change our minds or to acknowledge positivity amid previous expectations. I did not see the logic in the Siegel pick. I didn't see it at all.
Siegel was a guy where it became a little bit more clear once I talked to the coaches and looked at the Senior Bowl, because the Senior Bowl gives you the tape and it tells you what the play calls are. And I watched him basically play every single position. He was like I think he was more of a nickel and then moved to safety for the first time. And so some of his assignments were a little bit different at Kansas State than what you would expect in this system. But then at the Senior Bowl, he's like getting guys aligned and you're like, all right. But it's not a lot of contact. You're like, I don't know what to make of this. Like, how much of this is real? And man, they were not blown smoke.
No,
they were not blown smoke.
No, they've blown smoke on plenty, and they should. They should hype up their young guys. But the way that they talked about Siegel when we talked to coaches at the end of OTAs and minicamp or in between those, they were speaking about him as if he was ready to coordinate the defense week one. And it's like, whoa, I get it. You love your guy, but like, let's pump the brakes here a little bit. He jumped a play against the Raiders that if you were to just watch him, you would think that he's making just a wild mistake, right? Because he is a coverage safety on the outside the hash marks, pretty much on the numbers. He's clearly supposed to bracket, I believe it was Jacoby Myers on the outside. And it's a trips formation to the right, and it's Jacoby Myers one on the outside with a clear bracket on top. And Siegel, the ball is snapped, and Siegel just runs. He acknowledges, looks at Geno Smith, takes a half beat, and then sprints at a 45-degree angle across the field, entirely across the field, and gets there in a shocking amount. And because Geno did a half second to allow a short route, effectively a screen, to develop, he was able to kind of get into it. Now, he didn't make the play or anything because there was a lot of traffic. But the fact is, he knew the play. In a preseason game, he knew exactly what play they were running, and under a different circumstance would have gotten there and made the play from the opposite side of the field. I mean, it was a 45-yard run. Across. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like, this is blasphemy, but that's some Ed Reed shit.
Yeah, him and Mustafa. When Mustafa gets healthy, we talked about it. The safety had a huge amount of variance depending on Siegel and depending on Mustafa getting healthy. They're both out there and they're both healthy. That's like potentially an elite domineering safety grouping for a half decade.
And you know what I'd like to say, Jake? Safeties are a very important position. Perhaps even destiny. Right. Anything else you want to get in?
No, I think we should get out of here. This thing is gone
off the rails.
Functionally off the rails.
Can't get enough of it. 50 minutes of just sheer chaos. We love the safeties. We're questioning everything in front of them. But if they're destiny, the Niners are going, 14-3 because, my God, these safeties, they got a chance for a long time. Really feeling good about it. Not feeling good about any of the technical aspects of this. Feeling good about the comments section. Save for Paul. Bye, Paul.
It's okay, Paul. It's okay. I appreciate it.
It's fine.
I don't mind. I don't mind it.
You can be angsty. This team should make you angsty.
Disagreement's good.
Well, you could be nicer about it. I guess you could say the same for us. All right, Jake. I'll talk to you later this week, buddy.